Okay guys, I wanted to talk to you about foreclosures and cars, but before I get into it, I wanted to talk to you guys about my channel. I'm not really a big YouTuber, but I am going to change my name of my channel. It's still me. I might move my old family movies over to a separate, more personal channel, but mainly I'm going to put cars and movies about homes here as well. So my channel might be named Cars and Homes or something like that. We'll see. I'm into cars, I'm into real estate, and if you notice that when people are young, they buy cars, they spend a lot of money, and they also don't know how to maintain cars. So then they run out and get something reliable and safe and something that gets them to work and back every day with no problems. They spend a lot of money on the car itself, on insurance, on gas, on interest because they don't have any credit. So cars in general cost the younger people a lot of money. Now, home buying is the same way. Younger people and people with less credit end up buying a house and it costs them more money. So you have, the same deal with credit. Those who have less credit, typically young people, are going to pay more in their interest with a home loan. Also, you have more people getting involved. So if you're going to buy a house, what are you going to do? Typically they're going to be like, hey mom, hey dad, I want to buy a house. What do I do? They talk to their friends, their neighbors, their parents. They say, go talk to a lender. Go talk to this person or that person. Go talk to a realtor. I know a person. All these people get involved in that process of buying a house, and they take a little bit of the pie. Everybody takes their little piece of the pie. You got the realtor takes a huge piece of the pie, thousands of dollars. And they say, oh, the seller pays for the realtor, but it's not true. The buyer does. Okay, the buyer puts down the money, it goes into the seller's hands, and then the seller ends up paying for the realtor. So if there wasn't a realtor fee, the buyer could potentially pay a lower price with that house. If the house is on the MLS and you're seeking typical financing through a bank, you're going to pay much more than other people would if they buy through a different process. Of course, the interest, the points, mortgage insurance, all these things are going to affect your return on that investment. So of course, any type of investment that helps you stop paying rent is going to be good. It's going to be better than paying rent. So you always want to pay yourself first instead of paying the landlord. If you can make that transition, nearly any investment is better than renting. Okay, recently I was trying to buy a house with a realtor, and it was a very negative experience for me. It was a duplex, and we were barely under the ability to qualify for the house. My wife got a job. It was a good job, but it was a little bit too technical for her, and she didn't like the people and the training and that kind of stuff. So she ended up walking away from the job. We lost the house, and it was a very difficult process because so many people were involved, and everybody in that process wanted something in their unique way. Realtor wants their piece of the pie, everybody's trying to get money. And after that process, I was so disgusted and discouraged about how many people want money or want their say in the process of me buying a house. With all the technology that we have, home buying should be as easy as going to the grocery store, buying a box of cereal or a gallon of milk, and bringing it home, put it in your shopping cart, putting other things in your shopping cart, and going and paying for it and bringing it home. But we overcomplicate it with everything. So if I go to the bank right now, they want to see the loans on everything. They want to see that everything's paid. They want to know all of my assets. They want to know my debt, any kind of credit card debt, anything like that. Other kinds of securities such as investments or 401ks. They want to know my lease agreements, if they're up to date and why are they not, or and then we get into the bank accounts themselves. Like if you have a bank account, they want to see the last 3 months of transactions. If there's a transaction on there that's say over $1,000, they want to know what it was. Why did you transfer from one checking account to another checking account? Every time they respond, they don't have to do anything for 3 days. And that's the thing that really bugs the crap out of me. When you respond, like let's say they ask a question and you respond immediately within hours. Okay, their bank does not require them to make another response or work on that file for another 3 days. So that's extremely frustrating. Every time you talk to them, they will not respond again for 3 days. So let's say, hey, you need this file. You give them the file, then you don't hear anything. Oh, I'm sorry, we need another file. Okay, here's the file. Then you don't hear anything for 3 days. Can you give us more information about this lease agreement? What about your taxes? What about this transaction? What about your credit card? The list goes on and on about the things that they need at the bank. And what happens is the loan just gets more delayed and more delayed and more delayed. So eventually you have a delay of a month, 2 months. For a person like me, okay, my finances are complicated. I don't have one job, one checking account, one car loan. My finances are complicated. I dread going to the bank. Also, recently I was working with a realtor on that same house. I was trying to find a duplex, and I thought I was signing a contract for that house to work with that realtor. Like I was gonna sign something saying, yes, you are a realtor for this house. In fact, what I ended up signing was an ongoing agreement to work with that realtor, and she was not going to release me or allow me to work with anybody else for a period of 6 months. So I could not enter into a contract with any other realtors for 6 months. So I really, after I realized what I signed, I read that thing like 10 times, and then I realized that there was kind of a way out. I got really disgusted, and I just decided to buy a foreclosure. So with the banks and the realtor just like latched on to me, I just wanted to get them off. I just kind of scrape them off, start again, go on my own direction. The foreclosure was a huge blessing. It was just this breath of fresh air, and it's extremely simple. Over here they call foreclosures sheriff sales, and the way I find them is I go to the city website and I look up, for example, Franklin County Sheriff Sale. I'm in Ohio, there's a Franklin County, so I look up Franklin County Sheriff Sale. And there's a whole list, and every week they have, maybe like 10, 15 properties that go on foreclosure. And they go right on the courthouse steps. Everybody gathers around, and then they do an auction. And sometimes they have a professional auctioneer and it gets all crazy and stuff like that. And other times it's very low key, there's kids around. People are like 10,000, 20,000, 22,000, 23,000. And they just talk plain English, nothing fancy. And then if you get the house, you get the house. So within a period of 1 month, we ended up buying 2 foreclosures. We sold 2 houses in Arizona, and then we reinvested that money here in Ohio, and it was just a huge blessing. So one of the deals that we got was $118,000. It was probably worth about $190,000 after repairs. We put in carpet, reattached some kitchen cabinets, and rented it pretty quickly, and it was really a good house. It had been sitting empty for 8 years, but it was a house that was built in about 2003, so really it was perfectly fine. I totally get that most people don't have the ability or that kind of cash on hand to buy a foreclosure. And you do have to use cash or some type of creative financing or have a deal with somebody who is willing to put down cash. But there are a lot of small deals in foreclosures, especially here in Ohio. All the time you can find houses that are $15,000. In fact, I kind of messed up when I was at the auction, and they were bidding on 2 houses on the same street, and I wanted one of them, and they went out of order, and I mistakenly missed my opportunity to buy that foreclosure. But that was a house that was built in, I forgot what the year was. It was around year 2000. It was in an older neighborhood, but it sold for $24,000. There's old cars and new cars and big cars and little cars. There's sports cars, red cars, green cars, blue cars. Also, there are just as many cars, there are as many ways to buy cars. You can buy cars on different websites like, I don't know, CarMax, or, now there's Facebook and Craigslist, and what else is there? All these different auction sites, eBay. I like to use govdeals.com, govdeals.com. There's a neighbor down the street, there's a friend, there's a relative. All these people are offering cars to sell. And just like the many ways to buy cars, there are many ways to buy houses. So I encourage you guys to explore every single way. If you go out and buy and go through the traditional means, and it is a safe mean, it is a safe way, but if you go through that traditional way, you're going to pay more almost every time. But what I want to encourage you to do, find alternate ways of buying a house. Buy that house on foreclosure, buy the fixer-upper, invest your time and your money into that house, and have something that really works for you in the future. Now, real quick, something I look for houses that are about 50 years old or newer, because they're probably going to have copper pipes, 3-wire electrical. They're going to have secured or reinforced foundation. I get a good feeling about the house, and then I jump in, and it's been working for me. Now, I'm not saying go out and buy a house that is 150 years old for $14,000, anything like that. All right, guys, I'm going to end this video here pretty soon, but I do want to tell you we are in the process of buying a foreclosure, and we bought it for $210,000. The value of it right now is about $250,000 once it's in our hands, but I also think that that has a lot of potential to be at about $300,000. So if we put in a deck, we work on the basement just a little bit, maybe put in a small kitchenette or something like that, I believe that house can easily be $300,000. So, I'm not just sitting here preaching, do this, do that. I'm out there too. I'm out there working. I'm looking at I do look at the MLS for listings, for good deals. There are out there, but I've really come to enjoy foreclosures. So take care, guys. Have fun with your cars, have fun with your houses, live a little bit. Take care.